I had a phobia beyond. I had not been, and I'm ashamed to admit it, but over 20 years. I did have horrible experiences as a child with a dentist, and once I got old enough and out of my parents' home and in charge of my life, I was never going to a dentist before. And I didn't go to the dentist unless a toothache that I couldn't, that aspirin wasn't helping or Tylenol wasn't helping, and they were so obsessed that they'd have to be cut out. So that would be the only time I would go, and didn't mind them cutting them out because they would put me under anesthesia and cut them out, and I woke up, it was done, and I thought, well, great, that'll be the only way I went. So that was the only reason I ever went to a dentist in my adult life, was if I had an abscess and it was hurting. Yeah, I wouldn't go for the 6 months check. I never went for checkups, never. I would make dentist appointments, had insurance coverage, drive up in the parking lot, turn around and leave. I've gotten up out of the dentist chairs and walked out. No, phobia is real. I have a huge fear of dentists.
Wow.
When I heard sedation dentistry, when I heard on the radio, I was at work and heard on the radio Dr. Clark saying, they give you anesthesia for this, or they, I said, yeah, Dr. Clark. Like I was talking to the radio, sure, Dr. Clark, there's a chill pill. There's something that's going to make me not be afraid to go into the dentist. No way. It doesn't exist. It's something, like, why didn't you invent it years ago when I needed it? So, and I also thought it's too late now anyway, but it could not be possible. There could not be such a thing as a chill pill. So I didn't even believe Dr. Clark, even on the radio. My family had never embarrassed me or never humiliated me about my teeth, even though I know it was there. It was my teeth, and any time I talked to them, they had to notice. And I just overheard a conversation one Sunday at my mother's. My husband was helping my mother clean up after lunch, and just ever so nicely, he just said, I wish Ruth could get over her fear of dentists and get her teeth fixed. I know she would think so much higher of herself. It would help her self-esteem. And I'm thinking, he's never said anything in over 20 years of marriage to humiliate me or embarrass me, but he's expressing this little private desire, So that just gave me the urge. So the next time I heard Dr. Clark's commercial at work, I wrote down the number. And that's a huge step. Just to write down a dentist's number was like overcoming the biggest fear to do that. So that prompted me to call Dr. Clark's office. Well, my experience really began with the initial phone call. I called, the receptionist answered the phone, Dr. Clark in Sexton's office, and I instantly began to cry and went, I'm sorry, I don't think I can do this. And without saying click or goodbye or just hanging up, she went, I'll stay on the phone with you. I won't hang up if you'll stay on the phone with me. And I was crying. I was sobbing. And she just kept coming in, can you tell me your name? I couldn't even say my name. And she would say, when she finally got Ruth Ferris out of me, she just kept calling me Ruth. She didn't call me Miss Ferris. She just said, Ruth, I'm on the phone with you. When you get ready, we'll talk. And I said, is it true? Is it real? And she said, yes, I promise you if you'll come in, it's true. So when I walked in, the day I walked in, the girls behind the counter went, are you Miss Ferris? I said, yes. They said, we are so proud of you. We know how hard this was for you. We just can't begin to tell you how proud we are. And I'm thinking, proud of me? I'm not getting a lecture on, well, haven't you been to the dentist? And so I sat in the waiting area, but I didn't sit here a long time, and that was good too. It wasn't like where you made the appointment and an hour and a half later your anxiety has built up so badly you walk out. Within, I'd say 5 or 10 minutes, they had me back. Well, sitting in the chair, and it wasn't, you need to get in the chair. It was, do you think you can sit in the chair? How about just sitting on the edge of the chair? So it wasn't like, get in the chair, strap you in, that thing around, that napkin around your neck makes you feel like you're chained to the chair, and they start work instantly. They just had me sit on the edge of the chair. Well, now do you think you could lean back? We just took it in little bitty baby steps. And when I was ready, and only when I was ready, did Dr. Clark even come into the room. And then he asked my permission to look in my mouth instead of, prying it open and putting those cotton things in your mouth where you're like, get me out of here, I've got to get out of here. It was just, are you okay? Are you all right? Are you sure? And he would tell me every step he was fixing to do, every procedure, would you mind if we got some x-rays? The whole time there was just encouragement. He looked at my mouth. He didn't gasp. He didn't give me a lecture. How could you not have come in here? I mean, Dr. Clark was just very kind. It wasn't like seeing a dentist. It was like sitting and talking with a friend about your fears and apprehensions. And then when he tells you, I'm going to make it okay, and you're going to smile again. Wow. I mean, how could you at least not give him, give Dr. Clark the chance to do that?
Come back
yeah, the initial visit was just getting the x-rays and getting the modes of your teeth. And if it took 45 minutes, great. If it took all day, they did not care. They didn't rush you. They didn't, pressure you. So you moved at your own pace. Of course, Dr. Clark looked at the x-rays and the modes, and then he would tell you what he was going to have to do. And then what I liked is he scheduled you like the next day. I mean, mine was the next week, so I didn't have time to go home and, oh my goodness, what have I done? Oh my goodness. And I came in, and you took that wonderful little chill pill that you hear on Dr. Clark's commercials, which allowed me to walk through the door. For a lot of people, and especially for me, just walking through the door was a fear. It got me through the door, and when I got through the door, I said, I can do this. And then when they took me back to the room, are you ready? Do you think? Well, I didn't care if they, at that time, what they did to me. A chill pill, it really does what it says. And mine, I was fortunate. They were able to do all of mine in one day. It was a very long day, but they did complete the work in one day. And just, my husband brought me, and he picked me up, and they called me at home that night. They called me the next morning. I mean, they really care. I mean, you're giving Dr. Clark's home phone number. How many professionals out there do you know give you their home phone numbers? If you have any problems, call me. And it was just a sense of, I'm his only patient. He really cares, and his staff cares, and they're just encouraging and kind. Not one guilt trip, not one finger pointed or any blame laid at my feet. It was all, we are so proud of you. And of course, when I showed up at work the next day, they were like, you couldn't have had all of that done. And of course, as soon as I smiled, which I never did, they were just amazed, like, oh my goodness. Oh my goodness. And that was just the temporaries. I mean, I haven't now have the real ones, but it was like they could notice, and that I was just like, you've got to go to this, Dr. Clark, you've got to go, but not just Dr. Clark, his entire staff. His entire staff. I said, they welcome you from the time you walk in the door till calling you, are you okay, and encouragement all the way. Yes, I'd recommend it highly, because don't go 25 years like I did and not see a dentist. It's not worth it. It's right. Not. I've told everybody, I said, I had 4 children get married, and in every wedding picture, I am not smiling. And now I wish we could go back and take the wedding pictures so I could be, a smiling mother, because I didn't look like I was happy and excited for my children, and actually I was elated at every wedding. But I'm the one not smiling in the pictures, and now I can smile. So.